Just here in my garage, looking at this uh, wall of stuff, and I'm remembering Pink Floyd's The Wall. Um, I don't know if it's a music video or a movie where at Empty Spaces when I guess it's Roger Waters says, "What shall we use to fill the empty spaces where waves of hunger roar?" But this stuff is not junk. It's just like stuff to salvage that I've tried to salvage. Um, and I'm probably going to go through it. Right now, I'm making a video blog because it's raining and nobody's going to be like walking by the house, I presume. This couch is getting turned into glue. Oh, there was a flash of lightning. I'll hear the thunder and the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. But, there's the thunder. Let me set this up. So, I'm on, day 3. I've got to put a phone stand over here. I'm on, day 3 of, I gotta turn on the light. I guess I call it warehouse at home job, or kind of like in the eastern part of the world. A lot of people have a hard labor, that they're like in the West we have like community service, and in the East they do like hard labor camps. That's why my last few jobs were at a warehouse. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna work at a warehouse. And it was good, The first 2 weeks were insufferable. I don't know if that's the right word, but it was a lot of suffering. I made it through it, and it was like I could do 12-hour shifts at the warehouse. It was no big deal after that. And so I'm on day 3. It sort of creeped up on me. When I say it, I mean like an anxiety disorder that I probably developed in my first year of college. And I don't know. It just, I tried so many different things over the years, and I never really talked about it to quell it. Quell, to quell my anxiety. Started with substance abuse. It turns into substance abuse disorder, and that's out of the question. The last, I would say, since 2018, when electric scooters first hit the streets, started showing up in basically every big city, like this one with a different brand, Lime and Bird. In Texas, in San Antonio, we had Blue Duck scooters. Unfortunately, the founder passed away 21. It's 2024, so that was like 3 years ago. But anyways, yeah, so I'd never really enjoyed riding a bicycle that much, or like going for walks or going for a jog. So I'll try to like exercise to exercise anxiety out of myself. And what I just found on the online reading yesterday, someone actually called me out in a chat room on YouTube for having emotional trauma, and I kind of got upset about someone saying that. But then I researched it, and apparently there's something called grief-related trauma, or grief-related anxiety. Well, it's GPA. I don't remember what it is. But anyways, so I searched it. I found, an article about it. The first article on Google, and it talked about America is very grief averse, and so the last few years there's been so much grief happening, so much grief happening that people just either ignore it or make fun of it, and that's been our culture for a long time. And you know, for example, like on Facebook, I think the first year I signed up for Facebook, almost 20 years ago now, one of my Facebook friends passed away, and I was just like, well, what do I do? Are they still my friend? You know, and I'm just still wondering what to do all these years later. But yeah, so anyways, so I did more research. Like, for example, like I have a computer set up out here. What it contains is like, you know, access to the internet that is on Google's book experiment. I can access like the entire Harvard library and every other library basically in the world with English books, and not just like a normal library. You can scan through the titles, but of course inside the book there's always something like a few sentences that have nothing to do with the title that are the real gems of the book. And so on Google's book experiment I can really, you know, scan through every single book in written English history and find stuff really fast. Like, I'm really good at research now because of this. And I found Dr. Claire Weekes' books. She was trained, she was a doctor who was taught how to deal with anxiety from a World War I veteran getting over shell shock. And so some of her ideas that I wrote yesterday and today in audiobook form, just on YouTube, they're huge. I mean, she was a major influence on some of my biggest influences, and I could just go down the list of like 5 things she said in her first book that, you know, I don't know. She's kind of like Nikola Tesla, and she disagrees with psychoanalysis, like Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung. You know, psychoanalysis did help me up until last year. You know, close family member just all of a sudden was rushed to the emergency room, and there was a lot of grief in the family, and I think I might have suffered the worst of it. And so just reading about grief-related anxiety, it really made a lot of sense. And the stuff I was learning from Dr. Claire Weekes' books about, it's not just like the you know, the fear of like impending doom or something, like the little flash of anxiety. It's kind of like a strike of lightning or something. It's the idea that it's not going to end. It's like this secondary follow-up fear of it never ending, and it sort of has a domino effect to it. But today I went on a 1-hour hike, and I did take my scooter with me. You know, for some streets that I had to cross, I would just sit on it and ride across, and I'll probably take it again if I go on another hike sometime soon. But yeah, it's about, I guess, like close to 9 a.m. in the morning. I walked for about an hour, and anyways, what's funny though is she talks about tranquility in her book, and she says that people like just starting to exercise out of anxiety need like extra tranquilizer, which is, you know, in pill form, alcohol in a pill, or alcohol itself. But no, I mean, I consider drinking, but no, I'm definitely just gonna do the natural exercises before thinking about trying to tranquilize myself. But it's that tranquility and serenity, you know, the serenity prayer and stuff like that. But yeah, this standing I've been so lazy. It crept up on me. Like I've been like sitting so much. I just didn't like realize how lazy I've got. And for years I've been making video blogs with a body camera on my scooter, riding for hours, hundreds of hours. And that, I never said why, but it was to get over my anxiety. Like I'm not going to just keep repeating the word, but in a self-development community there's something called approach anxiety. I don't know, like going up to make like they have cold calls, there's cold approaches. It's also a term for stand-up comedians, like doing like a cold open or whatever, or practicing stand-up comedy on the street. And so I had pretty much worked out having that approach anxiety. I guess the big thing in the big idea is approaching within the first 5 seconds, like nixes, it just gets rid of the anxiety, because not approaching in the first 5 seconds just builds up and builds up, and that's like a time tested, tried and true rule that I haven't remembered in so long, because I had gotten over it. I was like, I'm over it, I don't have to worry about it. And but I'm drawing a blank at whatever I was gonna say after that. I don't remember. But one of my biggest hobbies is like playing video games. But what's so funny is kind of like being at like old Blockbuster, and I'm just gonna boot up one of my computers. One of the most fun things is installing video games. Like just finding the video game, getting it running. But then when I play it, it's not as fun as installing it. It's sort of like setting up a computer. It's just fun messing with electronics. Alright, so here. Right, so I'm working on a game that I'm calling Space Risk. Of course, it's just regular StarCraft. Here's how I took like the original start screen and I'm turning it into a map. I'm trying to make it look like space. Oh, well, here's just an image of it. This is the bottom of South America. That's a secret passage to the bottom of Africa. Here's a better view of the entire world. But instead of just having the entire world, what I had before was this underground that I extended. I made like a double world, and then now I'm turning it into space. So this is supposed to be space, that's supposed to be a satellite, and there's going to be like planets, and it's like the game Risk in real time though. And then I got these games over here. Wolfenstein 3D, I think it was one of the first games that I ever played. And what I noticed yesterday was the menu, like the main menu of it right here. Looks like GTA 1. So this menu right here looks just like GTA 1. Like if I could open up GTA 1, then I would show, oh, there's a demo? I never saw that. It says back to demo. What does that mean? What happens if I press that? Oh, that's the demo. Interesting. It's just a picture. But anyways, what else was I gonna say? I don't know. Yeah, so I'm just kind of taking there's the demo. I'm taking a break from organizing my wall. Pink Floyd's The Wall. So John Romero and John Carmack, they famously made the Doom a video game. And oh, it's gonna show something else. Nice. Cool. So yeah, I like easy video games. That's the easiest one. Just watching the computer play the video game. Anyways, let's see what else I got. Got Battlefield 1942 that's running. Warcraft 2. Let me open Warcraft 2. It's kind of that's kind of like my Space Risk StarCraft game. It's all sort of the same type thing. Did the screen turn off? Okay. Warcraft 2. So yeah, just like putting together computers and installing video games is sometimes it seems like it's more fun than actually playing the game or actually using the computer. Designing a video game can be the same way. It can be more fun than playing it. So yeah, I got that game loaded up. Then I can boot up the big one. I'll go ahead and do that. I had to move it all the way across the desktop to over here, and then I run this USB extender down to the bottom here, and then it goes inside the door. It'll start blinking. It's gonna start blinking. The way the internet actually works. It didn't work before. Regular TV remote. Oh, there's a Warcraft demo. Nice. So imagine if in a Risk game there's a bunch of infantry on one side and a bunch on the other, cavalry, artillery is launching, you know. So, and then I got 2 monitors set up. I'm getting used to that 2 monitor setup. Alright. I guess I got the same. I think I've showed this before. This is my, I got an actual body camera. The Animation of Warcraft. My actual body camera. But it really sucks. Like it sucks as a camera. Anyways, yeah, there are quite a few things I was going to talk about, but I don't know. I guess I'll shut the garage door. I don't know where I can set this camera up. Maybe I can put it down here on the chair, since I'm not using the chair. Okay. I found this. It's a, I think it's a vulture's feather. It might be a crow's feather. But where I found it, I found a vulture. But I think the vulture was eating something. I have a whole collection of feathers. We got 2 monitors. This one's not turning on. Guess I'll shut this other computer down, I'm not using it. I wonder if this will work. I don't remember where I got this, but it's 50 video games inside this, and it just plugs into like an old old school TV. They're like old Nintendo games. I have this AI GPT chat with RTX. See if it works. You know, because it's kind of censored everywhere else. Yeah, this video kind of sucks now. But yeah, I'm just kind of bored, you know. On day 3 of trying to stand up all day. Because like David Goggins is always saying, it's like, I was sort of, the last few years since lockdown started, enjoying a few fruits of my labor, really lazy. I mean, I have comfortable places to sit everywhere. Like, I got a hammock set up. Here's the hammock that I've had for a long time. I just never used it. That's my scooter beeping. This is the bag that it comes in, but it's to feel the anytime I'd start a new job, let's say at a restaurant or a warehouse, I have to stand up all day. That is one of the main reasons that people leave the job, is that uncomfortable feeling of having to stand up all day, not being able to sit down. And it just never occurred to me until like 3 days ago that I could just stand up all day at home and do the same thing. But it's kind of boring. But there's nothing like getting a good night's rest after standing up all day, or like doing a lot of, I used to do yard work, I guess like once a week, and I'd always feel better after that, like kind of exhausted myself. And then I don't know. This blog kind of sucks, but I guess I'll just end the blog. Yeah, the chatbot's still booting up. It says 2%. I think it should still work. I'm not certain about it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess when lockdown started in 2020 and 21, I was still using standing desks when I played video games. Like, I put my PlayStation on top of my dresser. But when the grief started last year, I have no reasonable, there's no like rational reason that I should be grieving because my family member survived the ordeal. But it was like a month long of grieving just on my part. I hate to make it about myself because the suffering was happening somewhere else, but it was sort of like a rug was pulled out from underneath my feet, and just from one day to the next, I went from having no anxiety, no panic attacks, to having panic attacks from one day to the next. And it's called like grief-induced or grief-related panic attacks, something like that. So I started researching it yesterday, just to reiterate. Found a book, and the classic book. It's called I don't remember the title, but Dr. Claire Weekes, with an extra E, 2 E's or 3 E's in her last name. And I don't know. I guess that's the end of the story. So that's all.